Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back. Another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Saturday, May 31st, but Sam's not here, and I got Noah instead. Hello, Noah. How are you doing? Welcome back. Thanks for joining the show again.
I'm good. Long time no see.
Noah and I just played in a 3v3 basketball tournament. What was the tournament called?
Patrick's Pals.
Patrick's Pals. We played in a 3v3 tournament. It was double elimination. We went 2-2, so we won our first game, then lost, then won, then lost again. It was good though. It was fun. We played basketball for the past like 4 days.
I know.
Not had a break.
I'm covered in bruises and cuts. I just realized.
It's not my fault.
I show them in the camera, but I don't think it's right. But
it's not my fault. I didn't do it.
This time it's not your fault. But look at my knee.
What the hell happened?
I don't know. This is from today. So.
Yikes.
Probably when I was leaving it all out there.
You how many points did you have in the last game that we lost?
I don't know. I had a few.
I think you had like 10 at least. 9, 10, something like that. You had a lot. I couldn't score in the last game. I had a good third game, but those guys weren't playing defense
me
at all,
bailing you out.
We lost. What do you mean bailing out? We lost the game where you scored all the points. Anyways, we're here to talk
empty
Celtics.
Calories.
I'm sure yours were empty calories.
No, I know. I'm saying it myself.
Oh, I'm sure we'll talk more about our hoop sessions as well. But it's the Celtics offseason. I know everyone's favorite time of the year, where we know nothing is happening and trades are all speculation and the draft is coming up. I guess I'll start with something else though, because I know trade talk gets old. So I'll ask you. You've talked to Jaylen Brown this summer, obviously, and then you had a couple things come out with Baylor and Torrey. Obviously, it's all like interesting, and we've chatted about like, you know, the lack of content at this time. So when you're looking at all that stuff versus the trade content, like even outside of just like a Celtics question in general, like what is your favorite type of story to write? Like we don't even have to like talk about trades and stuff. I'm curious.
Wow, what a fun question.
Well, listen, man, you were telling me like how sick you are of trade talks. I'm sure we're gonna talk trades when we go over your guys' emails.
Here's my thing with trade talks before I answer your question. Sure. It's not my thing because I'm not that imaginative with it, and honestly, like I don't really like the whole like 2K roster vibe of like, oh, we could swap stars and whatever. Sure. If there's reporting, I find it interesting. So like,
sure,
there was reporting that the Clippers and the Mavs are interested in Drew Holiday. So then it's worth examining. Like, okay, what do those packages look like? Is it realistic? That sort of thing. What I think is bothering me about the trade talks is that rumors are being conflated with somebody on
ideas.
Yeah, like if you're making up a trade that is like just you woke up and you're like, I'm making up a trade, that should not be getting aggregated by other people as like
I get
news. You know what I mean? And so I'm turning on the TV and they're like, new trade offer. Like, let's discuss. And I'm like, this isn't like a rumor or a report. It's just like somebody came up with it. You know, I know it's the game. I know. I don't think a lot of fans have enough media literacy to separate between.
Yes, sure.
Like, I think we need to be more clear when we talk about this stuff. Like, what is a report and what is
you just have to put like I write a bunch of those type of aggregation articles. You have to put like trade idea in the title, like to make it like painfully clear.
And even more than just like the articles, if you're on podcasting or you're on TV, like I think it's just confusing to people. So everybody that I've spoken to, every time I do a podcast, I say there's been 2 reports so far about the Celtics offseason. It's Shams said that pretty much nobody is like off the table except for Tatum, pretty much. I think he's like that plugged in with everything they're doing, but he generally has a good sense of things. And then the other 2 was just that Drew Holiday has 2 teams that are potentially interested in him. And even those reports, they're necessarily like it means a whole lot, but that's all we have right now. So it's kind of to talk about this offseason when it does feel like we're lacking so much information, and we probably will be until the finals ends, and then we'll probably get some real things.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, like I said, we have I don't know how many emails we have, so we'll have plenty of trade talk where you can give your reaction to some of the people's trade ideas. But to give a reprieve from that, I guess I go back to the question of what is your favorite story to like type of story to write?
I just gave you a brand you did not ask for at all.
That's okay. It's good. Sorry. It's good. We love content.
Listen, any content right now, you know. I think my favorite thing to write about is like off-court things, like two types of stories. One, like the community stuff, like going to an event and like seeing like talking like I did a few on Jaylen Brown this week where like you just see the impact that like Celtics players have on people. And it's kind of wild because they're just people who are good at basketball, but obviously we all know that their impact on the community and like just on kids and like how much joy it can bring a kid. But like if they sign one thing, that's why I like standing by the court and seeing like watching them sign stuff, because you're literally watching like the happiest day in like these kids' lives over something that we see every single day. That's like at a certain point, I'm like, why do you even want these players' autographs? Like it just feels so whatever, but it means the world to people. And so I that never gets old to me, is just seeing like how happy it gets people. I love writing those stories. And I love hearing from the players themselves and just doing like features on them based off of conversations. Like I think some of my favorite stories I've written this year, like for my one-on-one with Pritchard about like his aspirations and like how he kind of views the game. My one-on-one with Jaylen for last week, like those are the kinds of stories I like, where it's like you're just basically getting the chance to sit down one-on-one and talk to somebody, and you're the only person that has those quotes, so you can really take your time and think about how you want to think about it, and they feel more comfortable. I feel like in press conferences, like we very rarely have natural conversations with them. It's all we're asking very curated questions, they are giving very curated answers. So whenever the walls are down, like that's really nice.
It's like impossible to get well, let me rephrase. It's not like impossible, but it is very hard to get a very like worthwhile story out of a press conference. Like you can talk about games and trends, but like nothing a player ever says at a press conference is 100% how they feel for the most part, right? Like sometimes they'll give you something out of emotion, but like there is always oh my God, there's like 7 phones filming me in front of me in the front row and the third row and like they're just everywhere, and so it's impossible to know what they think. So the Jaylen thing, this is like now my own curiosity. You said like, how much was it raining when you guys were there? Because I remember that part of your story where like Jaylen, like it was raining on and off, etc. Like, was he like obviously he had that little like truck where he was chilling, but
it wasn't raining during our interview. It had been pouring rain for like the 30 minutes before he got there. Literally, his car pulls up with his grandfather, and like the sun came out. It was so like seen out of a movie, where like the main attraction of the event arrives, and like it was really, really nice out. So it didn't rain for like the first half an hour that he got there, but then it was raining later on. So it was just on and off. Like it was, I mean, it's kind of still like that today. Like the last couple of weeks in Boston, I feel like it's been a lot of these days where it's like raining and then the sun comes out for a second, then it's raining again. So it was on and off, but he was very chill. I'd already left at this point, but somebody told me that, he had one umbrella, and then at a certain point he was like, just gave the umbrella to like one of the people that was waiting in line, because he was like, I don't really need to get my hair wet anymore. Like I can get wet. Like these people actually need it. So he was very much just like, didn't really mind the rain, I think, at a certain point. And he had his little bucket hat too. But it was like I was thinking like, if I had an outdoor event, like what a terrible like weather condition. Honestly, the whole time he's had the pop-up, it's been raining like every day. So it's not the best environment for that.
Damn. I can't imagine like, so like I read it in your story, like the whole like, oh, he came out of the car and the sun came out. Like I was just like a part of me was like, so how like give me a break. Like what are we fucking talking
what stuff happens in real life and you're like, oh, this is so perfect for my story. Like, where it's like you can't even live in the moment because you already know it's like gonna be in your story. And that's like,
you see something happen, you're like, I'm leading with that. Let's go.
Or like somebody says a quote and I'm like, pause. I need to make sure I don't forget this quote. Like this quote was so good. So Jaylen did a couple days after that shoe event, he did the school tour where he visited a bunch of schools in Dorchester and Mattapan and Hyde Park. And I interviewed one of the students that I actually found on TikTok. And the student, did I tell you that's how I got the kid?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Did you like DM them on TikTok?
Yeah. Well, think about it. We all saw that Jaylen did the school tour, right? You saw it on his Instagram story. But I wanted to do a story on it because I just read it. He had just told me that he wanted to spend time in the community. And then 2 days later he does. And I'm like, okay, I kind of want to make sure I cover it if I like just said he was going to do it.
I forgot you could even send DMs on TikTok.
I didn't either. It was my first time ever sending a DM. I don't even have a TikTok. Like I don't post on TikTok,
You told me you were going to be a TikToker though.
I know. I didn't do it. Okay. So I DM'd the guy. It was like, I didn't even know how old he was. It was just, he had a video of Jaylen in the auditorium. Yeah. And so I was scrolling through my For You page and that popped up and I was like, I'm just going to DM the guy. And I DM'd him and he was like, this isn't real, right? Like I'm being pranked. And I was like, no, I'm actually a Celtics reporter. Like he was like, my friends thought you were just pranking me. And I was like, no. But he was great.
I guess, yeah, if you get a DM from a random person through TikTok, your initial reaction,
I know, and I have like 10 followers. Like it doesn't look serious.
No motion on TikTok.
No motion on TikTok.
Oh,
I should have borrowed your account for the DM.
Shut the fuck up. No, that was good. We talked about it on like a previous episode, but I was just curious about like the whole rain thing and everything that went down. It's tough this season, right? Because I was gonna say like obviously Jaylen's name is just naturally going to be put in
Yeah.
trade talks. I every time we bring it up here, I'm just like no, like not. We talked about it today. Like one, it doesn't make sense from like you were talking about like the community wise. Two, it doesn't feel like you'll get the right value for what he brings based on his contract. And three, like this is what I always say. People are treating this offseason like Jason Tatum died. Like he's not gone forever.
But yeah, in a way, but they're also treating it like he's your savior and he's gonna come back in a year.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, no matter what you have together, like at least then we'll be back in contention because Tatum will be back. And I disagree with that too.
Okay.
Because
yeah,
it depends on what you have around him. Like
that's what I'm saying though. Everyone's like, oh, he's gone for you. You might as well capitalize and trade Jaylen and Derek too. I'm like, if you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White, you're a championship contender. Like you can find the pieces to put around him. Like why sacrifice like
exactly.
Like it doesn't make any sense because Tatum's gonna come back. Theoretically, right? Obviously, anything can happen in an injury recovery, blah blah blah, and you can happen. But theoretically, Tatum comes back. Let's say worst case scenario, he misses all of next season, then comes back for the next year, right? You'd still have Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and then theoretically Peyton Pritchard too. You can take that gap year to figure out the center position and then go from there. That is a title contender, especially in the Eastern Conference. So like, why jeopardize that by trading guys for like all these picks? It doesn't make any sense.
So I know I would be a risk averse general manager if I was a general manager. And so when we have these takes, like I'm aware that Brad Stevens is much more risk tolerant than I would be. And we've seen that already. And his risks have paid off for the most part. But that being said, I do think sometimes it gets overlooked how hard it is to find 3 players like Tatum, Brown, and White who are so effective offensively, so effective defensively, like have been there before, have done it, have won, have performed at the highest level on both ends. Like they're not they're not ideas, they're not prospects. Like they're proven players who are not that old. Like everybody's talking about Derek White being 32 when Tatum comes back. That's not that old, especially with his game and like he's been durable. And the other guys will be younger. So that's how I would look at this year. I would keep those 3 guys. I would keep Pritchard. Those 4 guys really, because Pritchard's contract is such a good deal that I think you want that, especially if you have 2 max. If you have 2 supermax players, you need a player of Pritchard's caliber on that deal.
That's why I'm hesitant to trade Sam Hauser too, even though I get that a little more. But like, you need players like that.
In my opinion, like anybody outside of those 4 guys, I would shop and see what your value is. And you're shopping those guys too because there might be a team that brings you an egregious offer, which is what sucks. Like I can't imagine being Brad Stevens and like you're close with these guys, you've coached them, but like you literally they're all on the chopping block. Like that's just the nature of it. It's such a weird dynamic.
I wrote this other day. I wrote about like Jaylen Brown trade rumors, and I was like, they're like obvious but also fake. Like obviously you assess value, but at the same time, like there was no actual reporting that they're shopping Jaylen. It's just maybe they will. Like
exactly, and that's what I need to be clear. Like there has been 0 reporting that Jaylen Brown is on the trade block right now, and you wouldn't know that if you're like just kind of like Googling stuff and seeing what pops up. That's what bothers me.
Exactly. And like I wrote this, like if the like for let's say this Jason Tatum is untouchable, right? If the Thunder called up and say, "Hey, we'll give you Shea and Jalen Williams," you listen, right? Obviously that would never happen, but like this whole concept of like, shop around, like they're not shopping him around. Right. Will they listen to a egregious offer? It comes in, sure. Like if I don't even know what it would be. Like if the Rockets call up and say, "Hey, we'll give you a Men Thompson, the 10th pick and 5 firsts," you're like, shit, like maybe we think about it for a second, but that's not going to happen. 1 and 2, thinking of offers that come in is not the same as shopping a player around. Like I think like the core you just mentioned, like Tatum's obviously hurt, but Pritchard, Derek, and Jaylen are all like, we'll listen, but you're gonna have to give us like a Mikal Bridges-esque return.
We're gonna have to rip you off.
Start there. Yes, exactly.
Like Jaylen's actual value in the NBA, as far as like what I think teams would realistically give him, is not worth making the trade. Like I can't imagine unless a team is like, actually, we think this guy has the potential to be the number 1 on a championship team, and he's exactly what we're missing, and we're going to give you everything for it. Like then I'm sure Brad will consider it. And this is the part like where my emotions as somebody who just like, I wish there was way more homegrown players. I honestly would wish there was less player movement. And I know that doesn't go in line with like what fans like, because fans love player movement. Like we all saw what happened with the Luka trade and how good that was for the NBA. And how much views podcasts and articles get about trade rumors. Like that's what fans love. But I wish there was more of a structural incentive to keep the players that you drafted, and that was more ingrained in the team, because it just means more. Like say they traded for Giannis and then Giannis wins Finals MVP in Boston. Like that's awesome. I'm sure the city would love Giannis. Giannis is awesome. He's an awesome player, awesome person. But like, doesn't that kind of suck that like you traded for a Finals MVP that won a Finals MVP for your rival? And like, I know that's the NBA now, and like it's not like you would embrace it and you would love the championship because it's a championship. But I think that's like a nostalgic part of me. What'd you say?
Yeah, it's like KD winning Finals MVP of the Warriors.
Yeah,
like,
kind
great,
of.
like cool, but
right.
Anyways. Before we continue, I do need to tell the good people at home about Gametime. Gametime is the best place for all your ticketing needs. Make sure to check it out if you're looking to buy tickets this basketball season. The rest of the playoffs are here, or baseball if you're there. I'll pull it up on the screen so you guys can take a look exactly the features you can get. We'll look at the Post Malone concert that's coming to Gillette Stadium, or I guess it was today, so you missed out on this one, but you can see all the features anyways. You can see the exact view from your seat that you're going to see based on that venue. So you can see here the view you would see if you're going to a concert at Gillette Stadium. On top of that, there's some great deals you can see the great deals. The fire emblem means it's the cheapest ticket. Right here is the super deal, which Gametime deems to be the best deal based on price and the seats you're going to get. On top of all of that, with Gametime, you also get the chance to have last minute deals, which means you can save up to 6% buying last minute for sports, concert, comedy, and theater, and Gametime picks, which means curation makes it easier to find better value for your tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The other thing I wanted to ask you, because Sam and I disagreed on this. Sam believes or thinks that the Celtics are going to be like fighting to get like the 10 seed, 9 seed. I think they could be like 5, 6 at least, maybe better. And so we looked at like all the Eastern Conference teams, and I can pull it up too so we can look. The Eastern Conference is not good. Like, I don't think people understand how good the Celtics have a chance to be next year, even without Jason Tatum. You're muted, I think, so I cannot hear you.
Oops, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I agree with you. I don't know if I'm being a little bit delusional, because I anticipate Pritchard and Derek both kind of taking a leap when they have higher usage and more opportunities. And on the flip side, it might actually be a little bit of the reverse, because now they don't have the Tatum gravity and all of that. And maybe it actually hurts their efficiency, and I'm wrong. So I think every time we've had this conversation on the Garden Report, like, I think John probably agrees more with Sam. And I probably agree more with you in the sense that I expect this team to be very competitive. And a top 4 seed is within reach. And I definitely think they'd be in the playoffs. But John Zanis has the same kind of viewpoint as Sam, where it's like, I don't think he even perceives. And again, we're talking about they're probably going to lose some other players in addition to Tatum, right? Like, because of the second April. So it's like no Tatum and no Drew and no Sam. Like, you're losing a few guys potentially. I will say, like, I think you alluded to some of my reporting from earlier in this podcast, but I talked to Torrey Craig like right after the buzzer sounded, after Game 6, and like one of the things he said was, I think this team can contend for a championship even without Tatum. And he didn't say it in like a hot take way. He was like, we'd have to play differently. We'd have to change a lot of things about the way we're currently structured. But there's a lot of really talented players in this locker room. And I think that's what the fans kind of take for granted a little bit. And it's just, he just came from Chicago, right? Like, it's night and day, the depth on this roster, and the caliber of the players. And so I think a lot of people feel like without Tatum, there's other guys that are going to step up. But the question is, does the front office feel that way? I don't know.
Yeah, like, I pulled this up, right? You look at the teams in the Eastern Conference, like, who will be better, who will be worse than the Celtics. For audio listeners, I have the standings pulled up, right? Like, Cavs will probably be better just because they had a dominant regular season. Like, if they keep most of their core together, they will probably be better. Same with the Knicks, same with the Pacers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the better Celtics. So, like, Cavs, Knicks, Pacers, barring an injury or any sort of like ridiculousness, they will probably be better. Past that, there's nobody in the Eastern Conference who I feel like definitely will be better than the Celtics. Sam keeps bringing up the Sixers. Yeah, maybe if Embiid is healthy, but like, it's not like they were good when everybody was healthy, right? It's not like they were good and the injuries killed them too. Like, they were bad regardless of if Paul George and Embiid were on the floor. Like, they were not a good basketball team. And again, if Embiid is healthy, it changes a lot. But still, let's say even Philly does that. Like, Pistons have a chance to be better. Yeah, if Cade takes another jump, but I'm not saying definitely. The Magic have a chance to take another jump, but I'm not going to say definitely. And everything past that is like, I don't know. Sam brought up like the Hawks and the Raptors, and I'm like, that doesn't do it for me. Like Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, and if they can re-sign Cornette, maybe. Like, I think people are underestimating how good Jaylen Brown can be without Jason Tatum. And like this Eastern Conference is atrocious.
I also think you have a system that works and a coach that has been a part of 3 60-ish win seasons. And it's hard to get to that point. Like part of why they've been so good over the last 2 years when they're down players, like we talked about this, right? But what they were 9-3 without Tatum this past year. And yes, they played some weird competition and it's different when it's a larger sample size. But even the year prior, like you remember in that, the year they won the championship, that whole spring, because they were so ahead in the standings, they were resting 2 guys out every night and they just kept beating everybody. And so just because you're down a few guys doesn't mean that all of a sudden I think that the Raptors are going to be better than the Celtics team. The 76ers I had as one of the biggest threats to the Celtics in the East heading into this year, one of my worst takes. And so I'm not giving them anything heading into next year because they burned me so bad on that. So I don't think they're going to be good. And what I realized is that all the guys they signed have like no feel for basketball. All those like the role players that they signed, and they're like fun names in theory, but when you
like
put them all
Kelly
together,
Oubre,
yeah, it's like guys that just like aren't connectors. Like they didn't have like they honestly missed like Nick Batum. That was like something I never would have anticipated myself saying after the offseason they had. But Paul George is probably in one of the worst deals in the NBA. We were talking about that earlier. Joel Embiid, I really hope he can stay healthy because it sucks the knee stuff. But I think if you look at it, like, again, this is best case scenario. Everybody plays well. Like things could go awry, right? It could be a disaster season. And then go ahead, pivot to a tank. You have the trade deadline. Like, I'm not saying it will 100% work, but I just can't imagine not wanting to give the group a chance to be as competitive as possible. Like that's where my head's at.
And also, for the same reasons that the Celtics can compete in the Eastern Conference, they are not bad enough to tank in the Eastern Conference. Like they would have to trade Jaylen or bench Jaylen. And Sam was like, well, if it doesn't work, just pull like a Philly and like have Jaylen be hurt and like not play. That's just not how like Jaylen Brown will work.
I don't think Jaylen would be down.
Exactly.
You know how they were sitting Maxey like at the end of the year, even though he was obviously fine. Like there was one day where I was in the Sixers locker room, and like everybody was not in uniform, and I was like looking around, I was like, I'm pretty sure like all of these guys could play tonight if they wanted to. But you have to just have them buy in. Like I'm always surprised that players accept that. And
I guess like they don't have a choice.
Well, you can make a fuss about it because then like your organization could be in trouble, right?
True.
Like I'm surprised that's not more of a narrative that happens. I look at the Jazz and like Lauri Markkanen being benched like in the middle of his prime. It's like I feel like at a certain point, like nobody ever makes a fuss. Nobody ever makes us think about it with the media or like.
It's weird. Tanking's weird,
yeah.
man. Anyways, let's check out some emails. So now we'll get into the real trade stuff. I'm sure will be fun. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. We have a few to go over today, so let's check them out. First up, Cam Fortenberry says, hey guys, longtime Celtics fan here since 2005, born in 94. It's my first time emailing. Recently started watching your videos and enjoy the analysis. I wanted to share some trade ideas I think could be interesting and realistic, especially some of the potential changes. A few notes before you dive in. Each scenario includes 3 steps, but they can be completed in any order. I just laid them out in a certain way for structure. I use Fanspo Trade Machine. I prefer it over Spot Track, but I'm confident the numbers will work on Spot Track too. We'll have to check. Fanspo does not include a lot of CBA rules. I put each individual option to the chat TBT for deeper feedback and ask them to leave the most favorable for a Celtic perspective. You'll see some overlapping elements, et cetera, et cetera. Also on Sam Hauser, in one of your recent videos, you brought up Hauser's value. While I agree he might fetch more in the open market, this is more about shedding salary. I truly believe Baylor, presumably Baylor Shireman, if he's who you're referencing, can replace Hauser shooting to a degree, and he's a better all-around player. So while I might be undervaluing Hauser slightly, I think it's worth to free up the cap space. Look forward to hear your thoughts. For what it's worth, I don't trust Baylor Shireman. He might be a better player than Hauser. I don't think he's the same shooter as Hauser. I think it's very rare to find Hauser shooting. I went over this like in another podcast, but Hauser's a ridiculous 3-point shooter. Anyways, we can look at some of these trades. There's a lot of them here. I'll go over some with Sam. Oh my God. We'll go over. Okay, we're gonna go over.
To hire this guy.
I know. We're
That's
gonna go
way more
over
of an
one
appetite
of
than I
these.
have for making trades.
We're gonna go over one of these, and then I'm gonna save the rest to go over with Sam, maybe an individual video, just so the pod doesn't get too off the rail. Let's do this one. So option 1, Boston, Dallas, Orlando, Brooklyn trade. Boston gets Wendell Carter, Najee Marshall, Jaden Hardy. Dallas gets Drew, Jonathan Isaac, and Corey Joseph. Orlando gets Gafford and PJ Washington. Brooklyn gets Powell, Houston, and a future second from Dallas. It saves the Celtics $6.5 million and would now be 13.4 above the second apron. Okay. Oh my God, these are okay. And then the Celtics. Okay, hold up. Sorry, I'm catching my bearings. Then the Celtics get the 19th pick for Hauser and the 28th pick. Hauser goes to Brooklyn. Then Celtics get Rui and Connect for KP and Martin. And then Kleber in a future second from Boston goes to Utah. It saves them 8.4, and they would be 5 mil under the second apron. So the Celtics would send out Drew, KP, and Sam in 28, get back Wendell Carter, Najee Marshall, Jaden Hardy, Rui, Connect in 19. Okay, these are all going to be a lot. Like I said, we're going to go over the rest. I'll go over the rest with Sam in another video, but we'll focus on this for now. First and foremost, I don't dislike the players getting moved around and the fits in their like situations. I don't know if the Lakers would be all in on KP and give up Connect and Rui for that, because KP, like, maybe they'll take the risk because Rui's on an expiring, but I don't know about that. I don't know about shedding his salary
KP
rate.
Luka reunion.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And also, like, being 5 mil under the second apron is great, but that leaves you no room to re-sign Al or rookies or Cornette. So, like, realistic, like, I know the number is 20, but it really needs to be closer to like 30 if you really want to bring other people back. So I don't hate these. I don't hate the returns. I'm not a huge Wendell Carter guy, but I like Najee Marshall. I don't know. I get it, and I get the money it saves, but yeah.
My head is spinning about how we got there.
It's
you
a
know
lot.
what this reminds me of? This is how it's going to go. It's not going to be one trade.
I
It's
know.
going to be like guys are coming back to Boston. I'm going to want to write a feature about them. And then like by the time I reach out to their high school coach, they're going to be traded to another team. Like I wish we could know if someone's like staying or not. But I mean, I think the Celtics are going to have a hard time getting like a real return on KP. Like Connect on his own would be an awesome return. I don't think this is realistic in that sense. KP has a very bad trade value right now because he just had a horrible postseason with an illness that's like a little bit confusing that I'm sure is a red flag for teams, even if his physical is fine. Like we all just saw him like deal with this thing that was kind of inexplicable. I'm sure teams are going to worry about it. He's also had a million other injuries. And I think that's why I'm like a little cautious about even trading him right now, because I don't know that this is like trading as low as possible. Obviously,
I think you wait to see Eurobasket. You got to wait to see Eurobasket, because if he plays well in Eurobasket, then you're like, okay, maybe people are like back in that it was just an illness thing. Also,
or if maybe there's one team that's like, we'll take the risk.
Because it's an expiring. Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, he said re-sign Al 1-1 with the player option at the vet min. Let Craig and Cornette walk. I don't know, man. I would rather like one. I don't think the Lakers give up Rui and Connect for KP. I wrote up a mock trade that was like Rui, Vincent, and Kleber for KP, but then they get rerouted, or Rui gets rerouted to Detroit. The Celtics get Fontecchio and save money that way. And even that, I don't know if they would trade Rui for KP. I think it's a risk. I don't think Connect would be it. Like, if you think about it, the Lakers just rescinded a deal last year for Mark Williams because they didn't want to give up Connect for an injury plagued center. Another, like, it's just a pretty risky thing. This Dallas, Orlando, Boston, Brooklyn one, I get it. 4-team trades are also just extremely rare. The only way you usually see 4-team trades is if like one team is just in it for like a pick swap, and this would be like all players moving around to every team. Hauser in 28 for 19 isn't actually that bad. Like I get it. I just hesitate to give up Hauser's contract, but thank you for the work. Thank you for the trades. And like I said, we'll go over all the other trade scenarios, et cetera, with Sam, just so we don't derail this podcast. But thank you. We appreciate it. And the rest of those will be in a video, so keep an eye out for it. Thank you, Cameron. We appreciate you. RJ. Okay. RJ gives us a trivia question. So are you ready for trivia?
Let's do it.
RJ said, evening, folks. Another trivia question for you. The Hawks, Thunder, Wizards, and the Kings all share 2 bits of playoffs history that no other teams do. What are those 2 things? Answer to follow separately. The Hawks, Thunder, Wizards, and Kings share 2 bits of playoff history. Well, have the Hawks ever won the finals? The Wizards have won the finals way back. So that can't be it. I have no idea. I don't even have like a semblance of a clue.
I'm so bad at history.
Yeah. Let's just go. I'm sorry. We're bad. This was a
That's
better
the answer.
for Sam question. Here's the answer. The Hawks, Thunder, Wizards, and Kings. Each team has only won one title in their history, and those titles were when their franchises won by different names. The
Oh.
Kings won as the Royals, the Hawks won as the St. Louis, Wizards were the Bullets, and the Thunder were the Sonics. All right. Thank you.
That's a good fact.
That is a good fun fact. Thank you, RJ.
I don't know that I would have
Next.
gotten there.
Oh gosh. Okay. Ash Pal Pacure says, "Hi guys, been watching for 2 years now. This is my first time emailing, so I do apologize for that. Don't apologize. Here's some guys I think this would be a great fit in the draft, and also wanted your opinion. I also have 3 trades I made, and was wondering if they're any good. Although 2 of them are most likely impossible, but Luke to Lakers was possible, so anything goes with Brad. Centers: Danny Wolf, Joe and Behringer, Maxime Renaud, Ryan Kalkbrenner. I know you haven't done a ton of draft looking, but we have done videos on Wolf and Kalkbrenner so far. We like them both. I know Sam has written stuff on Behringer and Renaud. I think Wolf goes before as well. That's what Ash says. Behringer and Renaud are both solid, and then Kalkbrenner could be the second round choice. Wings: Yaxel Landenberg and Noah Penda. I see a lot of people in our comments begging us to look at Yaxel Landenberg. He went back to college, so he will not be in the draft pool, so we will not be looking at him. So he's going to be going to Michigan State next year, I think. Oh, you said that here. With Yaxel Landenberg going back to college, he's not available anymore. I'm also sure Noah Penda will fall or go in the second round, but he's a really good defender. Point guards: Phylon and Proctor. Phylon just went back to college. He was my favorite prospect. But Proctor, want to know your opinion. 6'6" combo guard that you can play the 1-2-3. I like Proctor. I do worry about the shot a little bit. I don't know if he's 6'6". I feel like he's a little smaller. Impossible is Colin Murray Boyles and Kaman Malawach. I know we all know Malawach. You should definitely take a look at Colin Murray Boyles. 6'7" forward center, 7-foot wingspan. Okay. I have the second best defender behind Cooper. He has this Murray Boyles, so thank you. Okay, we'll take a look. We'll definitely use these for a like draft videos that Sam and I do. So thank you very much. Trades: Nets receive. So this is a trade idea he has. Nets receive Porzingis, a second, and Boston receives the 19th and 36th pick. I get it. I think the Nets might need a little bit more incentive to take on that Kristaps contract. What do you think? I've seen people like mock, oh, let's just dump Kristaps to the Nets. What incentive would they have to do it, is my question.
Picks.
How many?
I don't know, because I think so many teams are going to want to dump money into the Nets.
Exactly.
Being under the cap. So you have to imagine probably more than it's worth. I think the Nets are going to be pretty bad business partners because they have so much leverage. It's kind of amazing that not one other rebuilding team put themselves in this position heading into the offseason to just like get picks.
Some like fringe rebuilding teams, like the Pistons are gonna have 24, but they're gonna want to use that for like actual help. So I don't think they'll do that. Also says another 4-team trade. Okay, here's a Jaylen one for you, Noah. Rockets get Jaylen Brown, Daniel Gafford. Pistons get PJ Washington. Mavs get Drew Holiday and a future first. Celtics get Şengün, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, the 10th and a future first. Thoughts?
Jeez.
It's a lot. I don't think the Rockets would do this.
I don't think the Rockets would do it either.
I don't think the Celtics should do it either. I don't know. Şengün's fine, but you can win a title with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White. I don't think this is enough to stray me away from that pathway forward in a couple of years. Are you considering it?
I think the biggest team that wouldn't do this is the Rockets.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, Şengün's already a star, and I think that he's, unless they don't believe in him and like unless they've seen something, I've watched him a decent amount, but I know his, there are some flaws to his game. Then you're taking 2 young players that are pretty promising.
Tari Eason's nasty, and the 10th pick and a first.
I don't think the Rockets.
That's just a lot.
Deal.
I saw someone make this trade straight up between Boston and the Rockets, but I thought adding the Mavs and Pistons would make the Rockets want to make the deal because they get a replacement center in return in Gafford. I get it. And then also he says, or they say, I worked at the Seaport District in high school, and now Sub Shop is one of the best sandwich shops out there. I haven't went there in a long time, but I've tried every sandwich. It's so good. I went there the other day. Vouch. Have you ever been to Al's? I assume not.
No.
But Al's rocks. Shout out Al's. A Giannis mock trade from Rob. So Rob is our GOAT because Rob explained to us how you can combine salaries and trades if you get under. And I think he heard it from Keith on your podcast. So Rob is like the great translator. Everything. But I remember Jack said that if the Bucks calling offering Giannis, you pick up the phone and listen. Carlos did a whole Giannis trade vid today, so I thought I'd take a stab at how to make it work. For the record, I don't advocate trading JP, nor do I think JT and Giannis are natural fits, but he's an MVP and a champ, so it's worth considering. This whole trade assumes the Bucks want JB and don't want to rebuild. IMO JB is the best non-draft centerpiece for retooling out there that is not a young player ready to compete now and not pick. So again, this trade is legal in Spot Track and Fanspo. Celtics get Giannis and a second from Atlanta. They lose JB, KP, and Tillman. Milwaukee gets JB, KP, and 13 from Atlanta. Milwaukee loses Giannis and Kuzma. Atlanta gets Kuzma into a TPE and Tillman into a TPE, and then loses 13 in this year's draft and a future second. I'll read the explanation, then we can talk. Why does Boston
Why would
do
Atlanta want this?
We'll get there. He's gonna explain, or this explanation at least. Celtics get 12 mil under the second apron before re-signing Luke Allen, their rookie, the best player in the deal. Boston is able to aggregate players as they are in a second apron team after the deal. Giannis could conceivably keep the team in contention next year. Without JT, a lineup of D. White, Drew, Sam, Giannis, and Luke if re-signed as a playoff team. PP, Baylor, and Al if re-signed with Aker at the bench. Milwaukee, they get the best non-rookie scale / pick centerpiece back on the market, as well as a Brook Lopez replacement / partner in KP. This deal assumes KP is back to form, if not close to it, before his illness. They also get 13 with health, then get a quality young player to start getting younger. A lineup of Dame, KPJ, JB, Portis, and KP would still be competitive lineup in a weak East. Atlanta, they essentially swap 13 for Kuzma, which gives them more scoring at the wing and deepens their wing rotation. They take on Tillman to have a vet backup to Okongwu. So what do you guys think of the deal? Would you want Giannis on team instead of JB? I don't think the Hawks or the Bucks do this trade. I think the Bucks are going to want to.
I think the Hawks, this would be a disaster for them. But I'm also very low on Kuzma.
Yeah.
You have to imagine that they could get some. They wouldn't want to do that. And Tillman right now, I don't think it has much of a trade value.
No. I also think the Bucks would ask for every first the Celtics could give them as well. Like the Bucks are just going to gut first from any team.
I don't know. So first of all, there's a chance that Giannis does not want out, right?
Sure. Yeah. Maybe he just stays in Milwaukee.
But I would imagine that if he does want out, they're not going to try to like retool. They're going to have to like actually rebuild because they don't really have. They don't own any of their. When do they start owning their picks? Do you know?
2031, I think. You didn't know this?
I didn't know it was 2031. I thought it was like 29.
Oh, hold up. Let me. I'll go down the list for you. I did this bit earlier. Yeah.
Oh.
I did this bit during the
playoffs. What are they
doing? So, one sec. Pro Sports Transactions is verified.
So they actually for sure have to go get picks if they trade Giannis.
This is what I'm saying. So this year they owe their first
and be like, we're gonna try to like make the playoffs. Like that's not
exactly. This year they owe their first to the Pelicans. 2026, the Pelicans have the right to swap. 2027, the Pelicans own the pick outright. 2020, and that's all from the Drew trade.
Yes. Okay.
2028, the Blazers have the right to swap from the Dame trade. 2029, the Blazers own it outright. And 2030, the Blazers have the right to swap. So 2031 is the first time the Bucks will like have their own pick.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to like use. If they trade Giannis, it's not gonna be fun, but they're gonna have to replenish their draft capital.
Yes.
Like I don't think you can just get an all-star and just think that's like gonna solve your problems.
You kind of want both, right? Because
you want both.
You don't want both. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, what's the point of Jaylen on the Bucks? Like, what is the point of having like a 28-year-old all-star on your team?
If you get picks as well, then because there's no point in tanking, so you might as well try.
Yeah, there's really no point in tanking.
So like that makes sense.
Weird. Yeah.
But they're screwed. They made like the Drew trade was worth it because they won the championship. The Dame trade's a disaster.
I will say it's nice to not own your own picks in a sense. Not actually, but like I hate the idea of like being incentivized to be bad. So there is something kind of nice about like the Bucks having to try to be good, even though it probably won't work.
If I'm the Bucks, I'm calling the 3 teams I'm calling are or 4, I guess. Like call the Thunder because they have all the picks in the world, right? Call the Nets and say, hey, would you give us some of those Suns picks, please? Like those are going to be great. We'll give you Giannis. And then you call the Rockets because the Rockets have some of the Suns picks as well. And you say, hey, we want those Suns picks because they're going to be ass. And then I'd call the Warriors, man. Like the Warriors aren't going to be good forever. Like if you can gouge some of their 20, 28, 29, 30 picks and like get whatever, scrape together something. I don't know. It's a mess. It's a disaster. Before I keep reading the emails, I need to do a quick check-in and tell you guys about CLNS Media. It's the best place for all your podcasts. Make sure to check it out. Noah, you're on CLNS Media all the time. You can attest. The Garden Report's over there. Make sure to subscribe. You can get the Garden Report. You can get You Got Boston. The A-List, First to the Floor, all the great podcasts over there. Subscribe to the Celtics All Access channel, CLNS Media. If you're listening here, you're on the How About Them Celtics channel. So you can leave a like, subscribe here as well. So we'd appreciate you jumping on over there and leaving a like, subscribing, and checking out all those podcasts. Turn the notification bell on to check it out. But we'll get back to emails because we do have a little bit more to go. Thank you, Rob. I don't hate it. I just don't know the Hawks or the Bucks are too incentivized for it.
The other thing is, I think everybody's looking at East trade partners because that's the this. I think Windhorst reported that.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't hear.
It was It was all speculation.
It was speculation. Yeah. But I would imagine if I'm Milwaukee and he requests a trade, I'm like, I really appreciate your time and contributions to this franchise, but like, there are better trade partners in the West. Like, we're
go to the
sorry.
West, bro. Yeah, you got to go.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on how much they want to do exactly as he wants. But if you request the trade, they can. I don't know. I think saying I also need to stay in the East when I'm looking around the East. They'd have much better offers.
The Celtics are the only trade partner that makes sense in the East because you can get Jaylen and you can get all these future picks that you could maybe bank on Tatum or Giannis not being good by then. So that's the only thing that makes sense. And I don't know if the Celtics even want to do it. But Colin says, "Hey guys, love the show. Let me preface this by saying the trade I've outlined below has to come after a KP deal. The only way the Celtics can make this trade is if they already find themselves on the first apron. Given the no adding up salaries rule, we've determined that that isn't a thing anymore, or to a degree. So let's assume whatever deal they make this trade allows them to be in this scenario. It doesn't include any of the pieces I've laid out. Humor me. I got you. A trade that makes a ton of sense to me is a deal centered around Drew Holiday and Michael Porter Jr. Watching the Denver OKC series, it was painfully obvious how shallow that roster has been. And ultimately, Porter Jr., I don't care if he was hurt, is asked to play a glorified version of the Hauser role. Not saying Hauser is the same caliber player, but from a roster construction standpoint, it's really hard to win a championship when you're paying a spot-up shooter $40 million. Wondering if these two teams could be good trade partners in a deal that gets the Celtics their desperately needed salary dump and the Nuggets their needed depth. Drew makes $32 million next year, and Hauser's number is right at $11 million. If you deal those two for Porter Jr., whose number is around $38 million. This deal would dump around $5 million for the C's. Could possibly even talk to the Nuggets for their 2031 first with protections, depending on how disenchanted you think the front office is with MPJ. His contract has 2 years left, and the Celtics could easily attach a pick in 26 to his expiring to go and get a piece or pieces that they think could help them win once Tatum's healthy. I, for one, find MPJ to be dreadful and also like the idea of MPJ contributing to losing next year since the Celtics have their own pick. AJ DeMonte, here we come. Let me know if this makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. MPJ is not very good.
I love the idea of designing a trade for a player you think is bad, so it helps tank. That's awesome.
It only saves $5 million. Like it's just not worth it, man.
No, there's better ways to save $5 million. He's in another bad deal. Another guy.
He's a really bad deal. Just dump Hauser at that point.
Yeah, he just had good playoff moments. Like even in the year they won, it was like almost in spite of his struggles at some points. He had a couple good games in there, but
yes, I agree. And then our last email, Julian, I'm going to go over this with Sam next one just because I see there are 5 trades. We might just do a whole trade video with all these trades because I know we have a bunch from the first email and these, just so we don't like go over a million trades at once here. So we're going to probably make our video tomorrow. So you guys are hearing this on Sunday morning. Monday morning's video will be all of these trades. So just come back to the channel, Julian, and who else sent the trades that I didn't get the chance to look at? Julian and Cam, come back here, and we will look at all of the trade scenarios in a video for you guys. So come back to the channel, and we'll do that then. We can start to wrap up here. Noah, when's the last time you've been on this podcast?
I don't know. When do you think?
It's been a minute. You kind of hate me, so I get it. You just haven't fucked with us lately.
You always ask me, like, can you come on in 2 seconds right now?
Do you remember the rat list? Are you familiar?
I've seen this thing before, but I don't remember what it is. But I've seen that bad graphic.
This is just when we complain about stuff or talk about stuff that's not basketball. And so I wanted to just briefly rat list the fact that we played a Volo game that had no fucking overtime and we tied a basketball game.
My brother had a sick game tying shot at the buzzer, and then we don't get overtime. And Volo is like comes out to be like $150 a game. Or no, sorry, $150 a season, $160
$180.
$180 for 6 games, 7 games. So what's that like?
Insane.
$30 a game.
It's like 100, 180
What's
divided
180
by
divided
what?
by 7? 180 divided by
100
7.
It's like 20 plus the 40. It's like 26-ish.
I'm putting in
I
my
think.
calculator. Oh my god, hold on.
Am I right? Oh,
It's
I was really
26.
close. Come on.
Okay, for $26, can
Yeah,
we get overtime?
you have to have like a 2-minute overtime.
Honestly, 26 wasn't that bad. I thought it was gonna be worse.
But at the very least, just do next bucket wins. Just
I know,
go.
anything.
Like, what are we doing?
I know, it makes me
Oh,
sad.
it was so dumb.
I was not upset this time because I already knew about this rule from last year. Last year, before you joined the team, we were down like 15 in a game, and then we had this like epic comeback, tied it up. We were like, "Let's go! We're gonna finish it off in overtime," and then they were like, "Yeah, there's no overtime," and like the other team was like happy because they had like already blown their lead. They were just
So
like happy it was over.
frustrating,
I was like, "What the hell?"
I also need. I don't want to rat list you, but somebody asked you for my NBA comp, and you said Brandon Bass, and that's crazy.
Okay, I honestly blacked out. It was because Bobby Manning says his NBA comp is Brandon Bass, and I think I was just trying to like remember somebody. It's not Brandon Bass. It's not.
I was gonna say, do you stand by? I'm trying to think of like what
little
you.
Jokic. It's a little Jokic, low key.
Let's go.
Don't let it
I'll
get to your
take
head.
Jokic.
Like you're
I'll
a
take
really
Jokic.
watered down version of Jokic.
This is.
But it is kind of accurate though. 'Cause
Whenever
you're a good passer out of the post. You have that weird high arcing 3 that he has.
Whenever
like
I
a higher
talk about
waist.
it, I always have to say I'm Şengün because he's like a watered down version of Jokic. So I'm a watered down version of the watered down
Yeah, I
version
guess
of Jokic.
Şengün works too. Şengün.
Oh man, I don't know.
Who's
I'm trying to think
comp?
of that's what I was trying to think of. It's hard because
I've
like
been so bad recently.
you were good today.
No, not really. Only
What
in
do
the
you
last
mean?
game.
I will say the one thing I always like
I've been short on
whenever
every freaking shot.
whenever I dump the ball into you, I always put a little bit too much speed on it, and so it just goes through your hands.
I meant to flag this for you. I cut to the basket just to make space. I don't want the ball. Like
you waved your hand like ready for the ball.
yes, because I want my defender to like be on alert so like somebody else can do something. It's a performative cut. I've stressed this to my teammates my whole life. I pretty much never want the ball when I'm cutting to the basket. So don't ever pass to me, like ever.
I was so
Unless
curious
I'm so open that you're like, I have no choice.
I was passing, and as I hit him, I threw it in your hand, and I saw a look of panic come across your face.
I was like, wait, what the hell? Like,
What are you going for?
I felt like you knew that about me.
Come
Everybody
on.
knows. Like my high school team, I'd be cutting. They wouldn't even like look at me. It's just because cutting is good. It moves your defender out of the area. You know. I don't wanna
Yeah,
just stand there.
I'm trying to think of what a good comp for you.
But I
would
don't want the
be.
ball.
It needs someone. It needs to be like a shooting guard with a step back, because like you're not
All I
like you
do is
don't.
step backs.
I know you don't like to be the point guard.
I'm such a step back merchant. It's crazy.
Okay, I don't know if you're gonna like. I don't know if you dislike or like this
I
player.
don't care.
Offensively, I see a little like CJ McCollum, like off the ball, like the
Yeah.
step backs, getting to the rim, like the little under the
Yeah, that's
rim
fair.
finishes. I don't know who else it could be though. Like that's the only guy that comes to mind when I think about the way you play.
The problem
like
is it has to be someone that can't dribble the ball. You know, I really can't dribble.
I think you underrate your dribbling skills.
Well, I don't lose the ball a lot because I'm a very conservative player. But like, I'm not a good ball.
Loki,
You know?
if I'm a watered down version of Jokic, you can be a watered down Pritchard. Actually, I can give you that.
Hey, okay,
a little
I
bit.
would be Pritchard. I would be Pritchard if I could dribble, but he's a great dribbler.
But like the one place you can dribble is when you get under the hoop and do the stupid little fucking hook shots. So
It's not
that's
stupid,
like
it's a good shot.
that looks like Pritchard.
You know what the most underrated part of my game is, in my opinion? I think I'm a very good passer. But I'm a but I don't do flashy passes. Like I let the action unfold, you know?
You know,
I'm patient.
I was gonna say something so mean. Kelly.
Say it.
No, I can't. It's about Kelly. I was thinking of like Kelly's comp too. But all I thought of was like she takes a lot of deep threes. I'm like, damn, she's chugging that shit like Jordan Poole. That was the first
I'll
thing.
tell her you said that.
No, don't tell her I said that.
Nobody even knows what we're talking about right now.
No,
My
no,
roommates.
this is just
Jack
delusion.
slandering my roommates.
Yeah. Oh man, we've played so much basketball in the last
I know.
4 days. Because I played
Thursday,
the night
Friday,
before.
Saturday.
I played Wednesday night too, though, because I played in the park. So I've been running. Anyways, we can wrap there. I don't want to take all of your day. Thank you for coming on the
Why did I
show.
have
We
Pritchard?
appreciate you very much. I'll give you Pritchard. I think Pritchard's a fair comp. You call me Jokic. It's the least I can do. That's a crazy
You do kind of
comp.
have that stat. Yeah. Just a terrible version of Jokic.
Yeah, just a dog shit Jokic who airballs every three.
Jokic if he sucked at basketball.
All right. Well, we can call it there. Thanks for coming on. Check out Noah's work on Twitter at
When
Noa
are you gonna
Dalzell.
Venmo me again?
Go fuck yourself. Check out our podcast, You Got Boston. Make sure to leave a like here, turn the notification bell on, subscribe to Have It in Celtics, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Taco, come on.
Taco